So the College of Engineering has enjoyed the support of not only our alumni, but many of our friends in the community. We're fortunate to include Bernie Marcus as a friend of the College of Engineering and of Georgia Tech. Bernie is actually Mr. Philanthropy, not only for our campus, but also for his philanthropy throughout Atlanta and the United States. He founded the Marcus Foundation in 1989, and since, that foundation has dedicated itself to supporting human services, mental health, and education. His good works are evident across the city, from a wing at Shepherd Spinal Center to the Marcus Autism Center to the Marcus Nanotechnology Building at Georgia Tech. He also established the Georgia Aquarium, the largest aquarium in the Western Hemisphere. Bernie is also a key supporter of our CreateX entrepreneurship initiative to build entrepreneurial confidence among our undergraduate students at Georgia Tech. We're extremely appreciative of the support that Bernie and the Marcus Foundation has provided to Georgia Tech. His support has also made possible the Marcus Center, support for our tongue operation system, and more. In 2015, Georgia Tech bestowed an honorary PhD on Bernie. His generosity is truly changing lives. I could provide another litany of accolades on how his support benefits our research, but let me tell you one way his gifts are significant, they are helping. Bernie provided a grant that supports a collaborative project between Tech, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, and Emory University. That grant has allowed researchers to design and test a novel device to treat brain tumors in children. We all know that FDA guidelines and regulations often slow down the pace in which we can achieve scientific or medical breakthroughs. Parents of children with brain tumors don't have the time to wait. The Marcus Foundation, through its vision, is allowing the research and regulatory processes to be greatly enhanced and accelerated so we can reach these patients faster than ever before. There will be medical breakthroughs at Georgia Tech, and at the Marcus Foundation will have been the catalyst to make that possible. It gives me great pleasure to honor Bernie Marcus with this year's Dean's Appreciation Award. Now, due to illness, Bernie himself was unable to attend this evening's celebration. However, his son Fred will be accepting the award on his behalf. Fred is here with us, and his wife Nancy. As well as Jay Kamen, the Executive Director of the Marcus Foundation. At this time, I'd like to ask Fred to come to the stage.
Thank you. My father sends his regrets that he can't be here, but he wants to reinforce his commitment to Georgia Tech. I wasn't sure what I was going to talk about until I heard the theme, and the theme was what everybody in this audience and everyone who is honored learned from Georgia Tech about life. I've learned two things tonight. Number one, I've learned that all the stereotypes are wrong. I thought I was in the Friars Club. Engineers are really funny. Number two, I learned that, by my count, 132-year-old organizations can be very young. And I learned it in conversations that I've had since I've arrived here. I can go back. The Marcus Foundation has done a number of projects at Georgia Tech. And I will go back to my first involvement when I met Dr. Clow on top of a parking lot overlooking what he promised us would be a nanotechnology center. And he said, "You don't know what will come out of here." He said, "We don't know what will come out of here. What we do know is if we put the best minds together in the right facility, with the right equipment, with the right culture, things are going to come out of this center that we cannot even expect." So then I move on to another project, and that's the project that we are very heavily involved in. I personally have been very interested in, the Marcus Center for Cellular Therapeutics and Manufacturing, and I've been sitting next to Raj Krish all night talking about it, and he's been very patient. He didn't get a bite of food until I finally got up to talk to somebody else, and he was able to wolf down his dinner because I had so many questions for him. And it's extraordinary what he's doing, and it ties into the Nanotechnology Center. Because his Center for Cellular Therapies, Stem Cells, T cells, is moving into the Nanotechnology Center, the organic section that Dr. May told me is starting to be built out. Now you have to understand the legacy that this project is going to have if it works. Stem cell research is at an early and somewhat anecdotal stage. It hasn't been standardized. We can't characterize the stem cells yet. We don't know about their manufacturing. We don't know how to bring it up to scale. Different people doing different research in different parts of the world are using different stem cells. It's almost as if you have 150 different languages, and a science can't advance until it's stabilized. And Raj and his team are beginning to do that, and they're beginning to do it in ways that, as we were speaking, we hadn't even thought about until tonight. For example, stem cells have an extraordinary effect upon any kind of inflammatory condition. And the people that we've worked with for many years have told us that the inflammatory condition they have the most immediate and dramatic effect on is rheumatoid arthritis. Also can work on Crohn's disease, it can work on asthma, a host of different inflammatory conditions. We have a serious problem in the United States with opiate addiction. People in chronic pain switch from pain medications that aren't working as well to opiate medications. And unfortunately, across Middle America, there has then been a switch to black tar heroin. And it starts off at a beginning, right? If you can stop something at a beginning, how extraordinary. Well, stem cells have the capacity to do that. They have a capacity that acute medicine doesn't have of treating chronic conditions that cause the chronic pain that caused the people to go into opiate addiction. So imagine this is one of 100 different things that could come out, but it will only come out if the science is standardized. And once it's standardized, and he's working with many different partners on this, then it can be brought to market. And here, conversations I had with Steve McLaughlin and with Sanjay about the CreateX program, which is working on that final translation, right? We have the facility, we have the project, but now what? Now we have students, and Dr. May was telling me about all the graduate students and undergraduate students who are involved in these projects who have great ideas and tremendous energy and cutting edge interest and understanding of technology, which I do not have. And they now have entrepreneurial mentors like Sanjay and others who are involved in helping them to learn about the world outside of tech and develop things that can go out into tech very quickly. Now, maybe a lot of these things would have happened anyway over the next 20, 30, 40 years. But my read of the Georgia Tech culture is you don't work that way. You try to take a long timeline that by passive participation would take forever and many people would suffer in between, and accordion it down to something that is synergistic and effective. This is very entrepreneurial. And I knew beforehand why my father has been so interested in Georgia Tech and why he continues to be interested in Georgia Tech, but I knew it more from the outside as opposed to a more inside view that I have tonight. I understand that he sees in you what he has done himself, and that is take ideas that were fundamental, basic ideas, execute them, and constantly improve on them by bringing in other people who are smarter than he is. That's how he tells me. I know you guys are a lot smarter than I am. It's not even close. To making a real impact in the world. And I have to tell you, Dean May, I've been stunned by what I've heard here tonight. And I know Jay, our executive director, is here. I know my father is very involved personally with the people here. I would imagine that we will have a long and productive relationship with Georgia Tech. And on his behalf, I'd like to thank you for his award. Thank you.